Hello everybody, and welcome to my review of EX Gomora. You know, the fellow that recently came into my mail. I know, besides most of the stuff I've been uploading to the channel, I actually have been thinking of uploading reviews. And well, what better to start with Prince of Monsters himself, EX Gomora. Although he might as well already be the king, the fact that he already turned into this monstrosity. But yeah, let's get started. So, to start out, well, we're going to divide this into sections. Articulation, detail, history, and, well, size comparisons. In no particular order, because that's how unorganized I am. So for starters, articulation. Look at this guy. In total, he has... well, in retrospective, he has more articulation, but I'll go on to that later on. For now, let's check out all the articulations. He can go 360 with his head. He can do the same for his hands, which, with these, it makes 3 in total. He can do the same with his leg, only if you position it in a way. Okay, that makes it 4. And 5 articulation points. Now, why do I say there's actually more, but I would go into that later, is that you see these hands? There's glue seals on it, which I will not break, because there are people who say that they are very hard to break, and that apparently, since the glue is too, I don't know, it's very glued on or some shit like that, that apparently it could tear the vinyl off. So if you try to break this shit open, well, you rip off his hands as well. But let's just say that if there were originally plans to have these articulated as well, then it would make these, alongside the ones we already have, 7 articulation points. And there's one that with like a lot of Godzilla toys, or kaiju toys in general, the tail, but it's glue sealed as well. So if you want to play around with it, just break the glue seal on. Though again, I wouldn't recommend it. I personally am not a big fan of doing that. But yeah, now that we're done with articulation, let's go on with detail. With detail, I'm actually going to have to move around my phone so you guys can see him. But if you guys can see all the detail that was put into this single little figure, let's hope this shit focuses. You can see he has very good, well-made detail. Like, it's accurate, at least to the video game design of EX Gomora. Like, just look at his tail. That is one long tail. Just look at it. But with his hands, he also has some good detail as well. If this thing could just focus, but yeah, look. His neck, you can see the scales. Well, not really scales, they're just like triangular shapes that move on. I think the best detail comes from his neck. His fat neck, thick neck. And again, the other arms, they share the same detail. Then the little spikes on his stomach. His legs also have some padding on them, or pretty much just armor. The general consensus is that this guy looks like an armadillo, and well, it's pretty obvious considering what he can do, the whole spin attack thing. But yeah, as accurate as it gets, it's really good. It's really good and accurate to the video game design of EX Gomora, because the one in the series is very different. Now let's move on to our next section. 3. Character-wise, the monster has been present in a lot of Ultraman video games. He originally started in Fighting Evolution Rebirth, I believe. And there the plot was that the aliens, that joined forces like Bolton and a few others, had basically mutated this guy into what we see now over here, EX Gomora. Him and alongside a few other monsters that were EX as well. Later on, he appeared in the Ultra Adventure game, or I forgot what it's called. Mega Monster Battle, where it was pretty much what we see in Ultra Galaxy. Rayonix owner, Rayonix being an individual that can control monsters, can turn his monster into an EX monster with how much control he actually has. But I forgot how it totally works. It basically depends on how experienced you are, but you can turn your monster to an EX monster anyways, so there you go. And then once Ultra Galaxy came by, he appeared at the end of the series under the same logic that only Rayonix could summon him. However, here it was more of the result of his owner, Ray, going very mad, and well, obviously turning his Gomora into EX Gomora to fight off a few enemies, Zeton and King Joe. Later on in Ultra Galaxy Neo, Neverending Odyssey, he returned under the same context again, although instead of rage, it was more controlled. He was already ready to fight, and he teamed up with Grande's Red King, which in turn had turned into EX Red King. So both EX monsters would go on to put a very good ass whooping towards Armored Darkness, which, by the way, that battle is very epic. One of the best kaiju battles ever made. And, well, that's pretty much it for his history back when he was actually relevant or popular. He still reappeared in other games, like in the Mega Monster Battle Ultra Coliseum game they made for the Wii. And in form of trivia, there were 2 EX Gomoras in the game. During the course of the game, you had your normal Gomora, which towards the end you turned into an EX Gomora, and then in the EX levels you would encounter a Dada, I think, who also had an EX Gomora. However, this one doesn't have the super oscillatory ray that this guy has. And well, and yeah, it didn't have any oscillatory ray attacks. And also, if you played as Ray in the game, your final ultimate attack would be summoning EX Gomora to kick some ass. In turn, the nose ray finisher he does. And now that we've mentioned abilities, before I go on to his final appearances, like, EX Gomora has a lot of abilities, from spinning attacks, which let him turn into a ball and will roll around until he attacks an enemy, like an armadillo, and Anguirus as well. He also has a very good fighting style. Like, he's very fast. Like, if you notice, the big difference between the original Gomora and this one is that the original had very stubby legs, or not stubby, more thick legs, while this one had more agile legs. It was for him to run faster. And the big arms also are a good thing for him to fight around. He also has a tail attack, which lets his tail extend as far as he wishes. And, as evidenced by the Ultra Coliseum DX game, he also has all the abilities of a normal Gomora, aka the normal oscillatory ray that comes from his head, the nose finisher, and exclusive to him is an attack where he opens up his arms and shoots out a big concentrated oscillatory ray. And, well, to finish off, his last appearance was in Ultraman X. Although his portrayal of the character was more, their portrayal of the character was more accurate to video games due to him being an antagonistic monster rather than a good monster like in Ultra Galaxy. Well, not entirely antagonistic, he was just corrupted. He was a corrupted monster due to Dark Thunder energy or some shit like that, which I believe was also the same name given to the energy that transforms the monsters in Fighting Evolution Rebirth. But yeah, that's all for his history. And now, on to size comparisons. So for starters, we're going to add in a figure that, well, in the words of my friend BioGoji, everyone and their mom should already have. Everyone and their grandmother. So we're going to start with Godzilla 2014 NECA. I'm going to move around the camera a bit. So yeah, you can clearly see that, well, Nekaji obviously kind of towers over him. So, with the next one we also have another Godzilla, my prized possession. Godzilla 2000, the Movie Monster Series 2016 re-release of the Memorial Box mode. And again, these guys size up well. They look like they could even be partners or fighting together. The nice little concept Biogoji has is visioning Godzilla 2000 as an EX form of Godzilla, which, like, it really sounds interesting in context, and it makes sense considering how, like, extreme this Godzilla looks in comparison to the original. Next up we have some Ultra Monsters that you may not have. And well, for starters, we'll have 3 Sparkdolls, although 2 at a time. We're gonna have 2 aliens, well, 1 alien monster, and 1 alien. Let's hope Bolton doesn't tip over. But there you go. Oh fuck. Well, now you know what happens. But yeah, Bolton next to Gomora. Looks quite nice. And obviously he dwarfs Zeton. Just like in this series, like when he's fighting King Joe and Zeton, he fucking grabs Zeton by the head and just throws him away. Next up, we have another Sparkdoll, King, his ally in normal form. Which they both fought together till the end. They even fought each other, but that was with Gomora being in normal mode. Munsargar from Ultraman Dyna, which I'm gonna have to lift up the camera a bit so you guys can see him because he's quite the big monster. And Munsargar looks really nice. And next to EX Gomora, looks like they could both have a great battle. Dyna comes in and stops them from destroying the city. Who knows? And to finish off, the SH Figuarts Gomora. Although we're gonna have to put him at his tallest point, so that way we can see how big he is in comparison. And there you go. Gomora and Gomora. Although I like to keep the other one hunched over because it's more accurate in terms of sizes. But this works too. This works too as well. This works very well. But yeah, that's all for the scaling. And we'll finish off the review. So, final verdict, is this a figure a must get or not? Well, depends on how much people are willing to sell it to you, or how much it's being sold at, etc. If you get this figure at 25 bucks, then it's a great deal. Get it. It's a must. But it also depends on the conditions it must be. Like, I was lucky to get this guy at 25 bucks in this nearly not mint, but okay condition where he doesn't have any paint scrapes besides, well, the tip of his nasal horn and a little horn, not horn, big teeth part on his mouth, but it's not really noticeable at all, so it looks good. But yeah, like, there's people selling it in conditions over 60 bucks and even higher. Medium tier, you'll ever find it in 40 or 30. But the best one you can find it at 25. Back in 2007 when this figure came out, he was like around the same price as a Sparkdoll nowadays, like 5 bucks with tag and all. But yeah, this became a very sought out figure, and well, obviously people ended up wanting to buy more of them. So yeah. Where could you buy him from? Well, there are many sites where you might find one used, such as Amazon and eBay, but I'd certainly recommend eBay to get it from. And well, yeah, that'll finish up today's review. Thanks for watching, and if you like this review, just comment if you want to see more, or just comment in general. It really helps me, well, doesn't help me financially, but it feels good to get some comments, right? But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and we'll see you next time.